In this video, we're going to cover the basic, simple edits you can make to an audio file in Adobe Audition. Now, there are a lot more sophisticated things you can do when editing an audio file, but this is basically just going to go over the foundational stuff that you need to know if you're a beginner in Adobe Audition. So the first thing I did was I zoomed into the timeline so that I'm seeing a smaller portion of it, so I can kind of see the difference between words and syllables and whatnot. And then I also zoomed into the amplitude so I can see the spikes a lot better. This is just a personal preference for me because this is how I like to view it in order to really be able to select the pieces that I want. So what we're going to do is hit play so we can listen to a little bit of the first part of this narration and see where we can edit out some things.
Glenn Miller's influence on the history of jazz represents a contradiction. Though many jazz enthusiasts disapprove of his discipline.
Okay, so we have a couple of things that we can fix. First of all, it's a long kind of space at the beginning. It lasts for about 1.5 seconds. So the first thing you want to do is we want to select an area that you want to get rid of. You just click and drag and you can create a selection. Now, if you want to listen to that selection, you can hit the spacebar on your keyboard to listen to that particular selection. So let's say I want to get rid of this piece. I don't want to get rid of the whole thing because I think it should have a little bit of space at the beginning. But if I want to get rid of this, I can go up here to Edit and choose Cut, or the keyboard shortcut that I'm going to use throughout the rest of this video is Command or Control X. So I'll go ahead and do Command or Control X and get rid of that piece. Now, it's really important that once you make an edit, you go back and you listen to this, at least this portion of the audio file again, to make sure that it really does sound good. Because you don't want to make a bunch of edits down the road, then listen to the whole thing and realize that your very first step, you should have actually changed it, because then you'll have to undo everything you've already done. So let's start from the beginning again and see if that gives us enough time.
Glenn Miller's influence on the history of jazz represents a contradiction.
So I think that sounds pretty good. Now, it's up to you. You can highlight this portion, this empty piece, and there is a little bit of background noise. Let's listen to it. We can silence that if we want to, so we can right-click on that selection and choose Silence and see how that turned out.
Glenn Miller's influence on the history of jazz represents a contradiction.
Okay, so that sounded pretty good. Now, if you want to, you can come in here and get rid of this inhale, but sorry, let's go ahead and see what this sounds like. So we can get rid of that, but watch what happens when you actually silence it.
Represents a contradiction. Though many jazz.
See how it looks like there's an error because there's none of that background noise anymore? So instead of doing that, I'll do Command or Control Z to undo it. And I can do a couple of different things. I can try a heal. So we'll go to Effects and do Auto Heal Selection, or you can do Command U on your keyboard. So now if we listen to it,
a contradiction. Though many jazz and
see, that works a lot better. It doesn't feel like all of a sudden it dropped, like all of a sudden the audio stopped. It still kind of has that little kind of almost, we don't even actually hear it, but you can tell when it's not there. So there's some kind of background noise
contradiction. There. Though many jazz enthusiasts.
So then you can decide if that's too big of a gap.
Represents a contradiction. Though many jazz.
And if it is, you can take a little slice of it, cut that out.
As represents a contradiction. Though many jazz enthusiasts.
See what I keep doing? I keep listening to it again and again. Every time I make a change, I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to make sure that whatever I did sounds good, or I'll undo it and then do it again. So now, somewhere here, I think from here to here, that we're going to delete this part. So let's listen.
Disapprove of his discipline. Though many.
Nope, I think it actually starts here. So watch, as soon as I hit play, there's going to be this dashed red line, and that's showing you where you move that playhead.
Though many jazz enthusiasts disapprove of his discipline. Though many jazz enthusiasts.
Okay, so this is where I want to chop all this stuff out. So let's go ahead and delete that and listen to it again.
Presents a contradiction. Though many jazz enthusiasts.
Okay, so there's a little bit of an inhale. So I'll probably highlight all of this and do Command or Control U to auto heal that selection and listen to it one more time.
Presents a contradiction. Though many jazz and
Oops, see, it's a little bit weird. So, sorry again, I might just come in here and chop this out, or I might silence it, or I can turn the audio down.
a contradiction. Though many jazz enthusiasts
So that's not too bad. So those are the basic edits. It's just basically highlighting an area, playing it. If you want to delete it or get rid of it, you're going to cut it. If you want to heal it, Command or Control U. Or if you want to silence it, you can highlight it, right click and do silent or choose silence. So you also have this auto heal selection as well. So that's the basics of creating audio edits in Adobe Audition. So you would just basically go through this entire audio file. Once you're done with all of your edits, make sure to go to File and Save. Right now you can see in this raw file, it has an actual asterisk at the end. That means that you haven't saved any of the changes. If you want to keep the raw file the way it is with errors and all, then make sure you go to File, Save As, and you save it as something different.